Senator Casey, you've got that Pennsylvania map behind you, which I have to say was invaluable when you were doing Pennsylvania analysis in the last election for everyone who was paying attention to that map of yours. What are the issues of importance to the voters in that map?
Well, Lawrence, great to be with you. I don't think there's any question that folks in our state are up against a lot every day. Just the costs that families have. And I think my record as a senator, and I think the record of our caucus in the Senate in lowering those costs is going to be a big issue. But there's still a lot more work to do, and I want to continue to try to deliver for the people of our state and to take on those corporate special interests that are opposing me and every other Democrat. So we have a tough fight ahead, but we're ready.
I want to go to literally the issue of the day that we were just discussing with the Massachusetts Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, and that is a Trump-appointed judge showing once again the importance of control of the Senate. A Trump-appointed judge in Texas, in a small federal courthouse in Texas, ruling for the entire country to shut off access to an abortion pill that was approved by the FDA 23 years ago. And this is what some Republicans said they weren't trying to do. They were just trying to move abortion back to a decision made by the states. What can Democrats do about a situation like this?
One thing I said last May when we were just introducing the Women's Health Protection Act was that the Dobbs decision would lead to abortion bans across the country and maybe even a nationwide abortion ban. So far, we've seen that play out. 13 states with bans in place, categorical bans. And now this federal district court decision, as you said, by a one district court overturning in a different way, overturning the determinations made by the FDA 23 years ago. It's really a backdoor a nationwide abortion ban is what it is. And so that seems to be their goal, not just to overturn Roe through their Supreme Court appointments, but to, in fact, put in place a nationwide abortion ban. And we have to pass federal legislation. As you know, Lawrence, we don't have the votes for that yet, but there's been a determined effort to pass federal legislation to codify Roe v. Wade.
Senator, you wrote an op-ed piece about the AR-15 and how it's a different weapon from what hunters in Pennsylvania need and why it should not be on the market. And one of the things that's important about tracking your thinking on this is that your thinking changed over time. And 10 years ago, with what happened at Sandy Hook, you watched that happen and you decided you had to change your view on what hunters in Pennsylvania needed and how to support them. And so you've moved on this issue into a kind of position where most of the Democrats in the Senate are on this. Is there something in the way you adjusted on this issue that enables you to try to convince other people and Pennsylvania voters who haven't come as far as you have on this issue?
Lawrence, I think at that time in 2012, in the aftermath of that, the horror, the absolute horror of Sandy Hook, one of the questions I had to ask myself, and my wife and my 4 daughters were asking me, is what are you going to do about this? Are you going to say that there's nothing you can do about this at all? You're a United States Senator, you're a member of a legislative body, you're going to say there's nothing you can do about it. And I think that's what we have to challenge Republicans on. You're saying that the most powerful country in the world must surrender to this terribly complex problem that no other country in the world has. I just don't think, I think that's against the American spirit to surrender to a problem. We know what we can do. We can take a series of common sense measures or put them in place, like comprehensive background checks and banning military-style assault weapons. So many things we can do to reduce the likelihood of more of these horrific mass shootings.